everybody, it's Gypsy, and welcome to On the Edge of Appalachia. So today, I'm doing a video on cold crops. Now, I should have done this much earlier in the season. I just, didn't have the time to get around to it. I have mentioned them in several of my videos in the past, though. So, where I live, and I have grown up here, was born here and everything, we were always taught our growing season is from like end of May, or at least when I was young, it was end of May, through whenever the plants died. So our first frost typically is about now, mid-October. And other than that, you cannot plant anything ever, okay? Now I remember when I was young, like a teenager, that's when I first started to love growing things. And onto April, early May, I was ready to get started. I wanted to garden. I wanted to plant things, and my dad's always telling me, "No, you can't yet." I'm like, why? He says you have to wait till after the last frost. And I said, "When's that?" And he'd be like, "End of May." And I'm like, I can't wait that long. I mean, there's just not enough time. There's not enough. If you do it that way, our growing season is very, very short. And, so it was like, he said, there's a chance we could get a frost. Even if it's, warm outside during the day, you could get a frost at night. You lose all your plants, etc. So everybody here believes that. Most people, now, people are learning differently now, but I still do run into people who believe you cannot plant at any other time of the year. But over the past several years, I have gotten more into gardening now that I'm older, and yeah, I have a lot more free time to do the things I love than when I was young. Isn't that a shame? You should always, always have time to do the things you love, no matter what your age, because not everybody can make it to their 60s or do or whatever, okay? So that's all I'm saying, young people. Don't wait. Do it. Just do it. Whatever it is, do it. Anyways, so cold crops, I discovered, are total different ballgame. So cold crops, they're planted early in the year, and they are also planted for fall. So this really extends the growing season. It is mid-October here. I don't know if you could see the trees behind me. They have turned, they've lost most of their leaves, etc. Our nights are very cold. I'm still harvesting. And in fact, I am over my head in harvesting. I did harvest all my tomatoes, but that's a summer crop, and I had to pick them green because I figured, the plants weren't looking good, and that was cutting it too close for tomatoes. Tomatoes, definitely a summer crop. So I just picked all the green ones, and I brought them in the house to ripen. So I'm still processing those, but beans. I'm like, I have been doing beans for I don't know how long. But anyways, cold crops. Now these plants definitely love the cold. Now in the spring, I usually will start off with lettuce and radish. Those two do, and it's almost like the colder it is, the more they like it. Now, radish grows very quickly, but once it starts getting hot, it's going to bolt. So I like to plant those pretty early. So then, brassicas. Now, I am never, ever good with brassicas, but I do better with them in the fall than I do in the summer. So the problem we have here, where I live in Northeast Ohio, which I believe our zone is 6A, we have no gray area, no in between. You go from freezing cold to summer. So my brassicas never have a chance in the spring to really flourish and do well, because we're cold and they're loving it. Next thing you know, it's hot and they're bolting and they look yucky. Okay, so all depends on where you live also. So anyways, one of the very first thing, I'd say no, this is the first thing I plant. Back here, my peas. Now, I plant these early spring. I had a beautiful crop this last spring. It was great. So then I planted these. I don't know, do I have a tag here? Let me see. It might say on the tag when I planted it. Was I that organized? Oh, here it is. Okay. I planted these August 9th. And they're flowering, they're huge. These are mammoth melting snow peas. Can't wait to try these. I have not yet seen a pod, but I have a lot of flowers right now, so they're going to be producing real soon. I also have Lincoln peas that I planted about 2 weeks later. Peas love cold. They do. Now, things like brassicas, like, all right, my kale, it loves cold. The colder it gets, the better it tastes. So anyways, I just showed you that I planted my peas early in August. It's still summer. So like when you're going to plant your fall crops, you're going to start in summer. Midsummer, like late June, July. You can even do mid-June. There are some things, don't go by the planting calendar. You want to do it a little earlier. I know our weather here is unpredictable. I don't know what yours is like. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the garden and show you guys what I have planted and what I'm harvesting. I mean, I have been having wonderful kale salads. Now, somehow I messed up with lettuce and I didn't plant it for the fall, which is sad because last year, I think you may have heard me talk about this, I planted fall lettuce. And although we did harvest some, we didn't get to it all in the summer or the winter. You know, the snow and everything, it came out of nowhere. And oh man, was our winter bad last year. Lots of snow. Lots of snow and very cold. So I thought, oh well, that's a loss. So after the snow melted, and I come out here, and I see my lettuce there. And of course it's mushy. It's just like if you put it in the freezer. And then you thaw it out and it's mushy and wet and yucky. So I thought, okay, and I just left the roots in, but I cut back the mushy leaves. So I thought they were a loss. No, they grew back, I mean, in no time. Within a week, they were growing back. Beautiful, beautiful heads of lettuce. I believe I did this with Grandma Hadley's lettuce. I forgot what kind of lettuce, but it's Grandma Hadley's. Oh my God, best tasting lettuce. It was nice and sweet, and they were beautiful. So I kind of wish I would have done that again this year, but I kind of messed up. But it's just a hint for you. I tried in the summer when it got too hot for my spring lettuce. I cut it back to see what would happen. It didn't work. So I think that's where I messed up. But we're going to go around my garden and we're going to look at my cold crops. Okay, so these are my carrots. This row of Danvers carrots, I planted July 29th. Then over here, I did not get back to planting carrots until August 5th. And as you can see, they're all doing wonderfully. I did that first row. I got a carrot or two from there. Let's see. Oh, look at that nice shoulder. Okay, now, the carrots I discovered, if I don't harvest them all by the time the snow comes, I just leave them. And if I need a carrot and I can get out here where, you know, the snow's not too bad because, you know, I have bad leg, I got to be careful. I can harvest carrots during the winter because it appears that with your root vegetables, or at least with carrots, it works, the ground works as a root cellar and they stay fine. So I will have these, I'll be harvesting these from now until they're gone in the spring, because I can guarantee you I won't get to all of these. And I don't have to bring them in the house, take up room in the freezer, or can them, or dehydrate them, anything like that. I could just leave them out here, which is great, okay? So these are doing wonderfully. Delicious carrots. The Danvers, I love those. I have some Parisian Market carrots in here. I also have some in a pot. Let's see, what else do I have? That's more Danvers. I guess I planted all Danvers this year. But anyways, these are very, very good carrots. So peas and carrots. I'd say carrots I start with first in July. So over here, I have these are wonderful. These are purple plum radish. I planted these on August 31st. We have had some of these. Oh my God, delicious. These purple plums. Keep that in mind. If you like radish, oh my God, so good. So, these are great in salads, but I discovered last year roasting radish. You roast them in the oven with, oh my God, so good. So then what I did was I think I waited about 2 weeks and planted another variety of radish over here. I have not yet tried these, but look how beautiful they are. They love the cold. So these are black Spanish radish. September 10th, I'm sorry. I waited quite some time. I did those. So after that, I planted some more radish over here. Now these I planted on September 17th, and these are called sparkler white radish. So I will go through these radish in the fall. And then in spring, I'll be planting them again. So that's what I do for radish. Those I plant fairly early. My peas, I didn't show you my Lincoln peas. Also a cold crop. So these peas are Shelly peas. Okay, and as you can see, I planted these 2-3 weeks after the mammoth snow melting. These plants are smaller, obviously, and they look like they're going to produce really well. So, what else? Oh, beans. Beans, it seems, at least for me, I can plant those almost any time of year, and they do great. Like I said, I'm overrun with beans. These are my beans that I planted for the fall, as if I needed them. I don't think I put the date on these. But anyways, I planted these very late summer. And as you can see, they're producing really, really well. So beans are something, I planted those in the spring, I planted them in the summer, then I planted them, mid to late summer for fall. It's like, especially pole beans. I have to close the gate because the chickens are going to try to get in. I can plant beans like anytime, and they just seem to grow. We went over peas, radish. We talked about lettuce. I'm kind of disappointed, but as long as I have my kale, because my kale, now brassicas, I always have a hard time with. I do not do good with brassicas. In the spring, I won't even bother, but in the fall, they look gorgeous. Now, I only do the kale. I'm not going to bother with anything else. If I want broccoli or anything else, I will find someone who grows it and buy from them. So, as you can see, they're doing beautifully. When did I plant these? If I put a date on them, did I? August 9th. Now, I started harvesting these young because when they're young, the leaves are so tender. They make a great salad. And I love to eat kale like salads. So, I've been doing that. But as they get older, now they're still tender. But when they get those real huge leaves and everything, just steam them for just maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and it will soften the leaves and make them tender. Okay, so it's the kale. The other thing is my peppers are still trying to ripen. I start my peppers in January. They are not a cold crop, but I start them indoors in January because they're so slow. Here we are, middle of October. There is a small chance of a frost tomorrow night, and they still are not ripened. I don't know what I do wrong. So let's see. We covered, well, everything. Like I said, especially with like the carrots, root vegetables. I wouldn't try so much with radish. I don't think they will do the same as carrots, keep over the winter. They're a much more shallow root vegetable. You know, they're closer to the top, so they don't seem to do as well with that. But my carrots, I can leave them for the winter. If they got through last winter, I will have carrots in the spring too, and I'll be planting more. So let's see, we did beans, which I don't know that beans are technically a cold crop, but they work well. That, I mean, for me, they're like an anytime crop. I wouldn't be surprised if I planted them for winter and they grew. Let's see. Yeah, so brassicas they're another really, really good cold crop. Now that would be like your kale, cabbage, broccoli, bok choy, stuff like that. I unfortunately am not good with them. I only do well with kale in the fall. So, I did try to plant some kale in the spring. And I did it early. But they bolted. I don't know. Our weather here is just from one extreme to another so quickly that I don't think I have the time. Like, I'm not too far from Lake Erie, which affects our weather. So, I don't know. I think I'm maybe 8 to 10 miles from Lake Erie. So you've got all that weather coming across the lake, and the water affects it. So it gives us some very strange and extreme weather. Don't know. So anyways, and as I said, my marigolds, they just love the cold. But, you know, I'm not sure if these marigolds are edible or not, but if they are, I would consider that a cold crop too. Or an anytime crop, just like the beans. So, I think we've covered it all. Here comes a Miss Mayhem right here. She's just flopping her head all over the place. Anyways, it'll leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.